and welcome to another video. Today we're here in Tampere for the Beyond the Shimmering Stars event, which is colloquially known as Hellocon. The event is 2 days. It's on Saturday. Saturday is the lecture day, the program day, the fashion show day, and of course the shopping day. And then tomorrow is the tea party, which is for a tea and party. And I'll show you around the event, and I'll see you in the rest of the video. Before we go, I wanted to show you my outfit as well. I'm wearing Angelic Pretty's Magical Milk Cats and these wrist cuffs by Fluffy Kawaii Joe, and this ring by an Estonian designer, and this necklace by Talking to Myself. So the event started at 12 for the VIPs, and for everyone else they got in at 12:30. So obviously we started out with some shopping. The shopping and vendors hall was in the main hall, so there was this huge stage in the middle, and then on the sides you had all these different vendors, and we had a little look. I was particularly excited about Ladies Lot, which is a Polish brand. I really have loved their Twisted Tartan series, but sadly they didn't have the pink colorway ready yet for this event. And I also looked at their chocolate printed tops for so long, pretty much right until the event ended. I was still thinking about them because I wasn't sure if they actually fit my wardrobe, but I love blouses that are different colors and that have unique prints. But there were obviously so many fun vendors, and I did later end up buying myself a veil from Anastasia. I did end up shopping at least a little. I spoke about the VIP tickets, and I didn't have a VIP ticket, but one of my friends did, and they kindly allowed me to film the stuff that comes within the VIP merch bag. So all the VIPs got the special hair clip, and they also got the tote bag that you can see in her lap, which had the official artwork of the Beyond the Shimmering Stars, and they also got a VIP pin. We all got a pin. Hellocon tickets are always pins rather than wristbands, but the VIP tickets look different. And then she also got a assortment of these beautiful postcards that you can see here. I feel like this year the VIP goodie bag had a little bit less stuff than previously, but that might just be because there wasn't a major Japanese brand as a special guest this year. Speaking of special guests, there was a special guest this year, but it wasn't a Japanese brand. Instead, it was a really famous Japanese singer, Kaya, and Kaya was also there at the opening ceremony. They also had a whole special concert on Saturday evening, but they were also there at the opening ceremony, so you can see Kaya in the footage here. This year Hellocon's ticket sales were a little bit more complicated. Usually you can get everything in the VIP ticket, but this year, even if you got the VIP ticket, it didn't actually include the whole event. You had to get separate tickets for the Saturday event, Sunday event, and for Kaya's concert if you wanted it. I got tickets for the Saturday event and the Sunday event, and I decided that some people are gonna be bigger fans of Kaya than I am, so they should be able to get the evening party and concert tickets, so I didn't get one. And I also wanted to save some money, so that is also the reason I didn't get the evening party ticket this time, even though I usually always go to the evening party. Then it was time for the vendors fashion show, and I think for a lot of people the fashion shows at Hellocon are the highlight, the thing they want to see the most, and that is definitely true for myself as well. Even though there wasn't a major Japanese brand, there were loads of brands from all over the world. All of the brands were represented with 2 or 3 models, mostly free, so they came on stage in like batches of 3 or two. And the full fashion show is gonna be available on YouTube if it isn't already, the full unedited version. This is a vlog, so I'm editing it, but I am gonna show you the final runway so you can see all of the models and all of the fashions. And as you can see here, not all of the brands were strictly Lolita brands. There were some other alternative fashion brands as well as Tabikauppa, which is a store that specializes in more traditional Japanese clothing like kimonos. After the fashion show, Eat Me Ink Me asked me if I could photograph her models, and I was happy to. So we took some photos of her models and asked them to wave for my vlog as well. And then in the main hall, it was time for Kaya's Q&A. I didn't stay to listen, but I took a small clip of it just so you can see that it did happen. You could submit questions in advance and then they were asked at the event. But I wanted to go and listen to a lecture about shoujo magazines. The lecture hall was on the 8th floor. There were stairs, but the stairs were quite steep, so I tried to take the elevator. As you can see, the elevator was quite small, so like 4 people top could fit in there, but then it was a tight squeeze. The whole event was like in a tower, so it was very tall. So I got to the lecture hall, and as you can see, there was a lecture about lace going on. And I was a little bit confused, because I knew that the lecture about the lace was supposed to be before the lecture about the shoujo magazines, and it should have been over by then. And the next lecture about shoujo magazines should have started in like 4 minutes, but the lecturer was still very much in the middle of their lecture. And I could tell that the staff was getting kind of nervous. The staff quietly told them multiple times that they need to wrap it up, and you couldn't hear it, but I could tell that that was what was going on because I saw all the time. And eventually the lecture wrapped up, but by that point the other lecture only had like 12 minutes to go until that one should have ended. So the next lecturer had to be pretty quick, and they did allow the next lecturer to go over time as well. But when they told her that she needed to wrap things up as well, I could tell that it really threw her off her train of thought, and she got really flustered and a little bit upset, because she was probably already upset because she didn't get to start her lecture when she was supposed to. Both lectures were actually very good, I want to say that. I'm really glad that I caught the lace lecture still, because it was really interesting. And the lecture about the history of girl magazines and the relationship with Lolita fashion was very, very interesting. And at the end of this lecture, the lecturer gave some examples of outfits in shoujo magazines and then did Lolita coordinates based on them, and I thought that was super interesting and fun, and a fun addition to the lecture. So I really enjoyed the lecture, but I was confused as to what happened with the scheduling, and apparently there was some confusion because the program leaflet and the online leaflet were apparently a little bit different, I heard, but also because in the online program it said that the lace lecture started, as you can see here, when the fashion show was still going on. Nobody showed up to the lace lecture at the beginning. So that's why they started later. At least that's what I heard from other people. And that's what sort of threw the entirety of the lecture program off. The timings for the lecture program really went off the rails. I feel like I'm really critical of Hellocon this year, and if you're a Hellocon organizer watching this, then don't worry, Hellocon is still my favorite convention, probably out of all ongoing conventions that are currently being held in Finland and Estonia. But this year's Hellocon's organization was definitely a little bit more wobbly than usual, and I was surprised that the lecture hall program got so offhand. Apparently this year there were loads of applications for lectures, and they had to say no to some lecturers, and maybe they weren't ready to have quite so many lectures. There were also lectures in the main hall, as you can see here, but apparently it was really hard to focus because there were vendors all around. But for vendors it was great because they could actually see some of the lectures. But yeah, and the sound wasn't apparently too good either, so maybe Hellocon just wasn't prepared to have that many lectures and didn't expect there to be so much demand. I did a little bit of shopping after and got myself a beautiful veil from Anastasia, which I actually wore on my Sunday card, so you can see a little bit of it here, and I'll show you a bit of close-ups as well. Then one astrology lecture had actually been cancelled, and instead they had this community fashion show or whole Lolita fashion show where they had gathered Lolitas from throughout the event and invited them on stage. They had announced this fashion show only like a day before the event, so they had found some Lolitas with great coats at the event and had them show off their outfits. Now the theme for this year's event was shimmering stars and sort of Hollywood and 20s, so plenty of people's coats were inspired by that. So if you see coats inspired by the 20s, that's why. That's because it was the theme of the event. So that fashion show was lovely as well, and after that I went to listen to the Artificially Alternative lecture. This lecture spoke about AI and whether or not you can use AI in the alternative fashion, and the lecturer had made it very clear that this was neither AI bashing or AI love or like AI praising, and the lecturer had a background in IT and they knew quite a fair bit about AI. There were very few people at this lecture, and the lecturer themselves found that people were probably also boycotting it because of the theme, and I do think that's possible. But I do think that it's sad. Like, regardless of how you feel about AI, and I don't myself feel too positive about it either, listening to a lecture from a person who knows what they're talking about is always gonna be a good thing. Having more knowledge, knowing more about things is always going to be a good thing. I think learning more about the topic you feel passionate about, even if it's passionate hatred, is always good. So after that lecture, the event was almost over. I had a little bit more time to think about whether or not I wanted to buy some stuff. I was really torn. I also really wanted one blouse from Cloudberry Lady, but I ended up not making any last minute impulse purchases because I really wasn't sure whether or not I was gonna regret buying them or not buying them. So that was the end of the first main day. As I've said, there was Kaya's concert on Saturday evening, but I didn't go. So instead I went to the alternative sauna party and we had loads of delicious food that you can see here. I didn't go to the sauna myself personally, but it was very chill, it was very fun. There were only like 12 of us. Some of us were wearing Lolita, some of us weren't, and it was very fun and very sweet. The next day was the tea party day, and here you can see the line to the tea party. The venue had offered them more spots at the last minute, so there were actually some tickets left on Saturday, 5 tickets to be exact, and more people got to join the tea party than initially. Initially the tea party sold out very quickly, but then there were extra tickets on sale, and I think that's great. I think a bigger venue is always great. There was a buffet table in the middle of the venue, and the venue itself was sort of long. We also got this postcard as part of our tea party ticket. The food was very good. I got some salmon, some potato salad, and then my friend got me these cakes and teas and biscuits because it was just such a hassle because the venue was so long. So it was quite a long way from my table to the tea table and back, so my friend helped, and I really genuinely appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. And Gaia was also attending the tea party, and they had a sort of mini concert with a few songs at the tea party, and I was like, oh, you know, it's fine. Some people can go up front and see Gaia, and they're huge fans, so they should see. And I figured I'm not gonna see behind them anyways, so I didn't go up front. Then Gaia walked through the restaurant as they sang, and there was an empty seat next to me as my friend had gone up front. And Gaia sat at our table and sang there. And it was amazing. It was so cool. It was just the best thing. Like, the best things in life happen unexpectedly sometimes, and it was just so awesome. Then it was time for the raffle. The raffle tickets were green and violet this year, and for some reason, most of the violets seemed to keep winning, even though everyone at our table had green tickets. But two people from our table did actually win, so it actually went pretty well. I didn't win anything myself, but I had a great time. Hellocon is always such a great event. I feel like I was pretty critical this year, but regardless, Hellocon is always one of my favorite events. I would always go back. So if you have the chance to go to Hellocon, definitely do. I highly recommend it, especially if you love Lolita fashion. And if you have enjoyed this video, then make sure to check out some of my other videos and subscribe. Leave this video a like, comment down below, especially if you were at the event. I would love to hear from you. And I'll see you in another video. Bye!